The great chamber of the Galactic Council was silent when the humans entered. The hall was shaped like a giant ring, filled with floating seats where thousands of alien delegates sat in bright robes and glowing armor. Above them, banners of every known world shone like small suns. The Council was the heart of galactic power, and no one had ever dared to defy it. Until now. 3 humans walked into the center of the chamber. Their steps echoed on the smooth silver floor. They looked small compared to the tall alien figures watching from above, but there was something sharp in their eyes that made many turn uneasy. The lead representative, Ambassador Ryan Hale, stood with his hands behind his back. On his right stood Commander Laura Brooks from Earth's Defense Fleet, and on his left Dr. Elias Grant, a quiet man whose face showed calm understanding. High above them, the Supreme Counselor of the Galaxy, a tall being covered in glowing scales, spoke with a booming voice. "People of Earth," the counselor said, "you stand accused of breaking galactic peace. You have destroyed ships belonging to the Othran Dominion, members of this council. You have shown aggression toward our order." Ryan Hale lifted his head slowly. "Those ships invaded our colonies," he said. His voice was firm, clear, and carried easily through the vast hall. "They killed thousands of civilians. We defended ourselves." A wave of murmurs spread through the crowd of alien delegates. Many hissed or clicked their tongues. Others laughed in their strange ways. The counselor raised a hand. "The council will decide what punishment Earth must face," he said. "You are young. You are reckless. You have not earned the right to act beyond your system." Ryan Hale's lips tightened slightly. "The right to live," he said, "is not something we wait for permission to have." The crowd erupted again. Some shouted insults. Some demanded the humans be removed. The counselor banged his staff and silence fell once more. "If you will not submit," the counselor said, "then you will be forced to." The council does not tolerate defiance. For a long moment no one spoke. Then Ryan Hale looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of the alien staring down at him. "You think we came here to beg for mercy," he said quietly. "We didn't. We came to give you a warning." That made the counselor pause. "A warning?" he said with disbelief. "Yes," Hale answered. "While you sit here deciding our fate, your fate has already changed." Dr. Grant touched a small device on his wrist. A soft blue light flickered. At once, several alien delegates looked confused. Their personal data screens went dark. The main holographic displays in the chamber began to blink. "What is this?" the counselor shouted. "What are you doing?" Ryan Hale looked up at him. His calmness was more frightening than anger. "For years," he said, "Earth has been preparing for this day. We learned from your history, your wars, your mistakes. We knew the Council would try to control us one day, so we built something to make sure that never happens." One of the alien generals shouted, "Are you threatening the Council?" Hale didn't answer directly. "We have satellites," he continued, "around worlds that belong to members of this Council. They were launched as research probes, but they are not. They are weapons, silent ones, hidden in plain sight. If the Council votes for war against Earth today, those worlds will lose their skies before the vote ends." Panic spread through the hall. Delegates shouted and called for security. Guards moved forward, but Commander Brooks raised a hand and spoke for the first time. "Don't," she said. "You will not reach us in time, and if we don't walk out of this chamber alive, the countdowns will continue." The counselor looked around helplessly. "You're bluffing," he said. Dr. Grant smiled faintly. "Then you have nothing to fear," he said. Silence filled the hall again, thick and heavy. For the first time, the mighty Galactic Council looked unsure. The aliens who ruled the stars for centuries were being outplayed by a species they once called primitive. Hale spoke again, softer now. "We didn't come here to start a war," he said. "We came here to end one before it begins. You accused us of aggression, but we only defend ourselves. If you think Earth will bow, you have misunderstood us. We will not be slaves to anyone, not in this galaxy or any other." The counselor's scales dimmed. "What do you want?" he asked. "Equality," Hale said. "Respect. Recognition as a free world among others. That's all we've ever asked for." The counselor hesitated. The chamber's lights flickered again as systems across the council building malfunctioned. Hale knew why. Earth's signal had reached deeper than they imagined. It was not just words, it was proof. Outside, across several sectors, alien fleets started reporting failures in their long-range communication arrays. Screens went blank. Power cores shut down for reasons no one could explain. Within minutes, fear spread faster than light. Back inside the chamber, Hale spoke his final words. "We are done begging," he said. "If you vote against Earth today, understand what that means. The galaxy will change forever. Not because we wanted it to, but because you forced us to show what we can do." The counselor tried to regain control. "Guards!" he shouted. "Arrest them!" But no one moved. The alien guards froze in confusion as their weapons deactivated on their own. Hale turned, nodded to his team, and they walked calmly toward the exit. Every step echoed louder than before. As the massive doors of the chamber opened, the counselor's voice echoed after them. "Human!" he shouted. "You cannot threaten the galaxy!" Hale didn't stop walking. He only said, without turning back, "We don't need to threaten it. We already changed it." When the doors closed behind the humans, the council chamber erupted in chaos. Alarms began flashing red across the ceiling. Reports poured in from across the galaxy, unknown signals near planetary orbits, entire communication networks shutting down, unidentifiable human code running through secure systems. The counselor sank into his seat, his scales flickering with unease. Around him, alien leaders argued and shouted, but deep down they all felt the same thing: fear. In the silence that followed, the galaxy understood something it had never considered before. Humanity was not just another race learning to fly among the stars. They were something else entirely, dangerous, clever, and unafraid to stand alone against an empire of thousands. Back aboard their transport ship, Hale looked through the window at the stars. Laura Brooks asked quietly, "Do you think they'll listen?" He nodded. "They will," he said, "because now they know what silence really means." The ship's engines ignited and the blue glow faded into the endless dark. Behind them, the greatest council in the galaxy sat speechless, their power suddenly uncertain and far away, hidden in orbit around dozens of alien worlds. Earth's silent weapons waited, cold, unseen, and ready. The galaxy had wanted to judge Earth. Now Earth had given its answer. The transport ship carrying the human delegation slipped quietly through the void, leaving the Galactic Council's core world behind. Inside, the air was heavy. Commander Laura Brooks sat in silence beside Ambassador Ryan Hale, her eyes fixed on the dark stars ahead. The mission was over, but none of them felt safe. Hale leaned forward, his voice calm but sharp. "By now every world in the Council knows," he said. "They know we can reach them if they move against us." Dr. Elias Grant nodded slowly. "But they won't accept it easily," he said. "They've ruled the galaxy for too long. They won't believe a younger world could outsmart them." Hale looked out the viewport. The stars reflected faintly in his eyes. "Then we make them believe," he said. Far across the galaxy, inside the Council's communication hub, panic continued. The malfunction that began during the hearing had spread. Thousands of systems were frozen, communications disrupted, and navigation beacons lost contact with their networks. Entire sectors were suddenly blind. No one could send or receive messages safely. The counselor shouted at his aides as they rushed around the Great Hall. "Find the source," he demanded. Find how the humans did this. But no one could explain it. The alien engineers worked for hours, tracing signals, searching for hidden viruses, but the results were the same. Nothing visible, nothing detectable, nothing alien. The code that had invaded their systems looked painfully simple. Almost primitive, yet it adapted faster than any of their machines. On Earth, inside the secure chamber of the Terran Accord, the world leaders met through holographic projection. Dozens of faces filled the circular room. Military commanders, scientists, diplomats, and strategists. Every nation of Earth now spoke with one voice. General Malik, the head of Earth's defense network, began the report. "Our probes remain cloaked around all Council-affiliated worlds," he said. "No detection. The satellite network is functioning as expected. The signal interference across Council space will continue for another 48 hours, before the virus deactivates itself." President Leon Zhou nodded. "Good," she said. "Let them think we can keep their systems under our control forever. Fear will keep them cautious." Ryan Hale's image flickered into the meeting. His voice came from the transport ship still on its way home. "We should not push too far," he warned. "We've shown strength, but the more we provoke them, the more desperate they'll become." Leon Zhou replied, "Desperation is expected. But they must understand that humanity will not be treated as a lesser race anymore. They called us reckless children. Now they will call us equals. In the corner, Dr. Grant spoke softly. Or threats, he said. It's a thin line. Back at the Galactic Council, that thin line was already starting to break. The ambassadors of several worlds had gathered in private chambers. Some were furious and demanded immediate retaliation. "They are dangerous," shouted the delegate from the Othran Dominion, his sharp mandibles clicking in anger. "They dare to strike our systems. We must send fleets to burn their planet before they grow stronger." But others disagreed. The representative from the gentle Lithari race shook her luminous head. "You saw what they did," she said. "No fleet reached their system last time. They destroyed the Dominion's ships like they were made of paper, and now they can control our satellites. Do you want to provoke that again?" The room fell silent. Even the most warlike races hesitated. The Othran delegate hissed but said nothing more. For the first time in centuries, the council members were divided by fear. Meanwhile, back on Earth, preparation continued. Inside a hidden mountain base, human engineers worked on something called the Mirrorfall Defense Grid. It was a network of energy-reflecting satellites capable of bending and redirecting solar radiation. Each mirror could unleash enough focused light to melt a ship's armor or blind entire planetary scanners. It was a weapon built not for conquest but deterrence. Commander Brooks supervised the team as they ran simulations. "If they send a fleet," she said, "we'll know before they leave their docks. Our system will light up every movement." One young technician asked quietly, "Do you think they'll attack again?" Brooks paused. "They might," she said, "but this time, they'll think twice." In the following days, messages began to flow again between council sectors, though still unstable. The council had partially repaired its networks. But with each repair, they found more of Earth's code. Lines that didn't damage, only watched. Like invisible eyes hidden inside their systems, the counselor grew paranoid. "They are spying on us," he said. "Even when they do nothing, they are watching." He called an emergency session. All members were summoned. The chamber filled once more, tense and silent. "This situation cannot continue," the counselor declared. "We must remove Earth from the galactic network entirely. Block all trade. Ban all contact. They will collapse without us." But one ambassador stood. He was from the small world of Thalren, a minor race known for trade. "Collapse?" he said. "You forget. They survived isolation for millennia before joining us. They have resources, technology, and now power. If we push them too far, they might not just isolate themselves. They might isolate us." Whispers filled the hall. The truth in his words made many uneasy. Ryan Hale watched this chaos unfold from a distance. Through hidden listening drones, Earth observed the Council's every word. Hale knew the Council would try to punish them economically, but humanity had already prepared for that. Years earlier, humans had built alliances with independent colonies, small worlds the Council often ignored. These allies were now opening secret trade routes with Earth. The humans offered technology in exchange for resources, creating quiet friendships among those tired of the Council's rule. Hale spoke to President Joe through a secure channel. "They think isolation will break us," he said. "But the truth is, it will only make us stronger. The smaller worlds are joining us out of fear of the Council." Joe smiled faintly. "Fear," she said, "is the one currency they understand." At the same time, far in deep space, the Council's intelligence ships tried to locate Earth's hidden probes. For weeks they scanned, but every time they got close, the probes simply vanished from their sensors. It was as if the humans had found a way to bend reality itself. One alien scientist finally explained it. "They have learned to manipulate gravity fields at the smallest scale. The probes hide inside distortions. We can't see them unless we are already inside their traps." The counselor slammed his hand on the console. "Then we are blind," he said bitterly. Back on Earth, Dr. Grant reviewed reports from the Deep Space Network. "They're looking for the probes," he said. Hale nodded. "Let them. The more they look, the less they find. And when they realize how little they understand about us, they'll hesitate even more." The next day, a secret message arrived from an unknown council member. It was short, written in translated Earth Standard. "We do not wish to fight you. There are many among us who believe the Council has lost its way. If you can protect us, we will stand with you." Hale read it in silence. Then he said quietly, "The cracks are forming. President Joe looked out the window of her office, watching the blue Earth spin below. "Let them come to us," she said. "Let the galaxy choose who it truly fears, the council that enslaved them, or the humans who broke their chains." In the dark reaches of space, Earth's hidden network hummed softly. Satellites drifted like shadows, their quiet sensors watching everything. The Galactic Council, for all its size and age, was no longer untouchable. Humanity had shaken the balance of power without firing a single shot in weeks. But deep down, Ryan Hale knew this calm would not last. The Council would not stay silent forever. Somewhere, plans were already being made. Fleets would rise again, and when they did, Earth would be ready. The humans had entered the stars not to conquer, but to survive. Yet now, survival itself had become the greatest power the galaxy had ever seen. As their transport ship approached Earth, Hale looked down at the glowing blue planet. He thought of how far they had come, from the small world once ignored by the galaxy to the force that made even empires tremble. And in the quiet hum of space, his words lingered softly. "They thought we were fragile," he said. "They forgot how dangerous fragile things become when pushed too far." The stars above the solar system glowed peacefully, but deep beyond the edge of Pluto, death waited unseen. The humans had filled the darkness with silent machines, small as insects, armed with weapons no other race understood. They floated among the frozen rocks, waiting for a signal that might never come. Commander Laura Brooks stood in the control center on Luna Base, watching the data feed from the outer system. Around her, the air hummed with tension. "Any sign of them?" she asked. A young officer answered. "The Council fleet has crossed the outer border of the Kuiper Belt, ma'am. Over 300 ships. They're heading straight for us." Brooks nodded slowly. "So they finally decided to come." The Council's decision to attack Earth had been made in secret, but Earth had known before the fleet even left its docks. Human agents had been listening, reading, and watching. When the Council began gathering warships near the edge of their own territory, Earth sensors picked up the faint distortions in space caused by mass drives. They had prepared for this. At that same moment, in a command room buried under the city of Geneva, Ambassador Ryan Hale stood before a large holographic display showing the Council fleet's advance. The ships moved in formation, like a wall of light against the blackness. Around him, generals and scientists worked in silence. General Malik turned toward Hale. "They mean to destroy us," he said. "We can't stop that many ships in a direct fight." Hale looked calm. "That's why we won't fight them directly," he said. He looked at Dr. Grant, who stood beside a console covered in blinking lights. "Are the gravitic fields ready?" Hale asked. Grant nodded. "Ready and synchronized. They'll never see it coming." Out in the darkness of the Kuiper Belt, the first alien ships passed near a cluster of invisible human probes. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the nearest ship's hull began to twist as if an unseen hand had gripped it. Within seconds, the vessel imploded in on itself, crushed to the size of a small rock. Before the Council fleet could react, 20 more ships disappeared the same way. The remaining commanders shouted orders, but their voices broke up as communication systems failed. Space itself seemed to turn against them. Invisible wells of gravity bent their paths, dragging ships off course and smashing them into each other. Inside the Council flagship, Admiral K-10 shouted at his crew. "Shields! Engines full power! Pull back!" But it was too late. The fleet was dying, and no one knew why. One by one, ships fell silent, their signals lost forever. From Luna Base, Brooks watched the screen as red dots vanished one after another. Her officers stared in disbelief. "How many have we lost contact with?" she asked. "All of them," the officer said softly. "Every Council ship in the attack force is gone." Brooks closed her eyes. She felt no joy, only a cold sense of completion. "Transmit report to Earth Command," she said. "Operation Shadowfall is over." Hours later, the news reached the Galactic Council. The chamber filled with shouts and confusion. The surviving fragments of data told the same story. An entire fleet, destroyed in silence without a single visible weapon. The Supreme Counselor's voice trembled for the first time in his life. "How can they do this?" he demanded. "What weapon could crush a ship without leaving a trace?" No one answered. Even their best scientists could not explain it. The galaxy had seen many wars, but never anything like this. Ryan Hale stood before the Terran Accord again. this time in the underground command center on Earth. The leaders of humanity looked tired but proud. President Lianzhou addressed the room. "The Council has lost its fleet," she said. "They will have to listen now." Hale nodded. "They will listen, but not because they respect us," he said. "They will listen because they fear us." Dr. Grant, still pale from the long hours of monitoring the gravitic systems, spoke quietly. "Fear can keep peace for a while," he said, "but it also breeds hate." Zhou replied. "Then we make sure they never forget what hate costs." Days later, across the galaxy, the Council's propaganda networks tried to hide the truth. They claimed the fleet had suffered an accident, that human sabotage had tricked their navigation systems. But the smaller races knew better. They had seen the data, the energy readings, the patterns that no natural disaster could explain. Whispers began spreading in the outer colonies. Some said Earth had found a way to bend gravity itself. Others claimed humans had discovered ancient weapons buried under their planet's crust. Whatever the truth was, one thing was certain. Humanity was no longer weak. In the ruins of the Council's command halls, fear turned into anger. The Othran Dominion called for total war. "If we let the humans live," their ambassador shouted, "they will destroy us all one day." But many others refused to fight again. The representative from Thalrin stood up and said, "The humans asked for peace. The Council gave them war, and now the Council bleeds. We should not make the same mistake twice." Even the Supreme Counselor stayed silent. He knew the truth in those words. The Council had underestimated Earth, and the price had been too high. Back on Earth, the cities glowed brighter than ever. People looked up at the night sky, no longer with fear but with pride. They knew the galaxy now spoke their name with respect and caution. Ryan Hale sat in his office looking at a map of the stars. Laura Brooks entered quietly and handed him a tablet. "Reports from our deep probes," she said. "The Council has stopped moving ships near our border. They've recalled most of their forces." Hale smiled faintly. "Good, then maybe we've bought some time." Brooks frowned. "Time for what?" "For the future," Hale said. "We've shown them strength. Now we have to show them wisdom." Later that night, he stepped outside onto the balcony. The sky was clear, full of stars. Somewhere out there were billions of lives that now feared Earth. He wondered how long fear could hold peace together. But deep down, he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy had changed. Humans had changed it. In the Galactic Council's private chambers, the Supreme Counselor sat alone, staring at a single holographic image, a human satellite, sleek and black, floating quietly among the stars. It had been captured by one of their patrols, but before it could be studied, it exploded, leaving nothing behind but silence. The Counselor whispered to himself, "They are no longer just another race. They are something new." Far away, in Earth's orbit, dozens of similar satellites drifted through the void. Their systems were silent but awake. They waited for the signal that would never need to come, for the war that humanity hoped would never return. On Luna Base, Brooks watched the stars and spoke softly. "They wanted to test us," she said. "Now they know the price." The quiet hum of machinery was the only reply, and across the galaxy, the once proud Council sat speechless, realizing that the smallest of all empires had just rewritten the balance of power with nothing more than courage, patience, and human resolve. Earth had not only survived, it had proven that in the vast cold of space, even the oldest powers could still be brought to silence by the strength of a single, determined world. The Galactic Council's great city on Ardent Prime stood in chaos. What had once been the shining capital of the galaxy now trembled under fear and confusion. The news of the destroyed fleet had reached every world, and now the Council faced the truth it could no longer hide. Earth had won the war before it began. In the tall marble tower of the Council building, the Supreme Counselor met with the remaining leaders. Their voices were low but full of panic. "They have crushed our fleets," one said. "They control our satellites. What stops them from attacking us next?" The Counselor looked tired. His scales had lost their glow. "They will not strike unless we strike first," he said. "They warned us before. We were the ones who ignored it, but not everyone agreed." The ambassador of the Othran Dominion slammed his hand on the table. "We cannot let these humans rise unchecked," he shouted. "They will turn every planet against us. Already smaller races whisper their name with hope. Do you not see? They will replace us." Others nodded in fear, but one calm voice spoke from the shadows. It was the Lithari representative. her silver eyes cold and clear. "They have already replaced you," she said softly. "And they did it without firing at us. Only at those who attacked them first." The room fell silent. No one wanted to admit it, but the truth was clear. Humanity had not started this war. They had only finished it, efficiently, completely, and without mercy. Back on Earth, Ryan Hale stood before the Terran Accord once again. The meeting room was quiet, filled with tired faces. The war had ended faster than anyone expected, but the tension had not. President Leon Joe spoke first. "The Council is afraid," she said. "Our intelligence reports that Ardent Prime is now guarded by more ships than ever before. They fear we will attack their homeworld." Hale shook his head. "We will not attack," he said. "We will show them restraint. Fear is useful, but it must not turn us into what they are." Dr. Grant looked up from his data tablet. "Even so, we cannot appear weak," he said. "They must believe we can strike at any moment." Joe nodded slowly. "Then we show them what happens when they push too far." Hours later, in orbit above Earth, a line of silver shapes glided silently into formation. These were the solar mirrors, massive structures that reflected and focused sunlight across vast distances. They had once been built to power colonies and provide energy to distant stations. Now they had another purpose. "Targeting calibration complete," said Commander Brooks from the control deck. "All mirrors locked on Ardent Prime's orbit. Power levels rising." The order came quietly from Earth Command. "Send the warning." Light traveled faster than sound, faster than thought. Moments later, the skies above Ardent Prime flared as one of its defense towers melted into molten metal. The beam cut through its shields as if they were smoke. Within seconds, half the planet's orbital defenses were gone, destroyed by sunlight redirected across millions of kilometers. On the ground, the counselors watched the destruction from their windows in disbelief. The Supreme Counselor's voice broke with fear. "They've hit our orbitals. No explosion, no missiles, just fire from the sky." The Othran ambassador shouted, "They're attacking us!" But the Lithari representative shook her head. "No," she said. "Look at the pattern. They're not hitting our cities, only the military stations. They're giving us a message." Above them, the fires burned for hours. When the light finally faded, every weapon aimed at Earth had been destroyed. Yet not one life was taken on the surface. A single transmission appeared on the Council's main channel. It was from Earth. Ryan Hale stood in the hologram, calm as always. "You chose judgment," he said. "We chose consequence. Earth does not seek to rule the stars, but we will not kneel before them either. Your fleets attacked us, your towers aimed at our world, and now you have seen our answer." The council chamber was silent. Every representative, every soldier, every citizen watching the broadcast across the galaxy saw the same thing. Humanity standing unshaken. Hale continued, "If you fire again, we will not stop at your orbitals. The next strike will end this war forever. We ask only for peace and recognition, nothing more." Then the hologram vanished, leaving only static. Back on Ardent Prime, the Supreme Counselor sat in silence. Around him, the other delegates whispered. The Othran ambassador was trembling with rage. "We must destroy them," he shouted. "We cannot let them dictate our laws." But the others turned away. No one supported him now. The council had lost the power to lead. Far across the stars, the people of the smaller colonies began to contact Earth. They sent quiet messages, offering trade, support, and cooperation. For the first time, entire systems began to speak freely without fear of the Council's control. In one hidden communication room on Mars, Hale received the reports. Dr. Grant looked over his shoulder and said, "They're coming to us. The colonies, the outer worlds, they want protection. They want to join us," Hale nodded slowly. "Then the galaxy is changing faster than even we planned." Joe's voice came through the secure channel. "And what of Ardent Prime?" she asked. Hale replied, "They won't act again. Not after what they saw. The Council's fleets are crippled. Their defenses are gone. They will talk peace now." The president was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Make sure they understand this peace belongs to Earth, not to fear." That night, under the clear skies of Earth, Hale stood on the balcony of the United Nations building. The stars looked peaceful again, but he knew the truth, they were not. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was holding its breath, waiting to see what humanity would do next. Commander Brooks joined him. "Do you think they'll try again?" she asked. Hale looked at the stars. No, he said. Not soon. But fear fades with time. Someday someone will forget. And when they do, they'll test us again. Brooks smiled faintly. Then we'll be ready. A few days later, the council finally responded. A message was sent to Earth signed by dozens of alien leaders. It was short, simple, and full of unease. We recognize Earth as an independent and sovereign world. We propose a ceasefire and new terms of peace under mutual respect. Hale read the message quietly. Then he sent his reply, peace accepted. Keep it. When the message reached Ardent Prime, the Supreme Counselor felt a strange mix of relief and fear. The war was over, but the balance of power was gone. The Council was no longer the voice of the galaxy. It was an echo of what once ruled. From that day forward, every world spoke the same phrase in awe and quiet respect. The humans retaliated relentlessly, and the galaxy fell silent. The stars over Ardent Prime glowed like cold fire. Ships drifted silently in orbit, broken and powerless, a quiet reminder of Earth's warning. The Galactic Council still stood, but its voice was gone. Across the galaxy, worlds whispered of a new order, an order that began with Earth. Inside the vast council chamber, the Supreme Counselor sat alone. The great hall, once filled with thousands of delegates, now held only a few. The banners of fallen empires hung in silence, their colors faded. The counselor's eyes moved to the holo display in front of him. It showed Earth's message again, looping endlessly. Peace accepted. Keep it. Those simple words carried more weight than any fleet ever could. He knew then that the galaxy had changed forever. On Earth, Ryan Hale stood at the edge of the Terran command balcony. The night sky shimmered with satellites and ships orbiting in neat formation. He could hear the hum of engines far above the clouds. Humanity had finally built what it once only dreamed of, a defense that reached beyond its atmosphere. President Leon Zhou joined him. They have not moved against us, she said quietly. Even the Othran Dominion has withdrawn its ships from the border. They're regrouping, Hale said. They won't fight again soon. But fear doesn't last forever. Sooner or later, someone will test us again. Zhou nodded slowly. Then we must show them what peace looks like when it comes from strength. Across the stars, the Council tried to rebuild its image. They called for a new summit, one meant to restore balance and trust among the species. But many refused to attend. The small colonies that once obeyed the Council now followed Earth's example. They had seen what happened when the mighty challenged the weak and lost. On the day of the summit, Hale and his delegation arrived on Ardent Prime. Their ship, the ISS Resolute, glided through the atmosphere in silence. No weapons showed, yet every system on the planet watched its path with fear. When the landing ramp opened, Hale stepped down first. His black uniform carried no medals or marks of pride. Only the silver insignia of Earth. The alien crowds whispered as he passed. Some feared him. Some admired him. But all respected him. Inside the council chamber, the Supreme Counselor rose to greet him. His voice trembled slightly as he said, Ambassador Hale, Earth's presence here is unexpected. Peace cannot last without presence, Hale replied simply. They sat across from each other, the old power and the new. Around them, the representatives of many species watched in silence. The counselor began the meeting. This galaxy has seen enough war, he said. We must agree to laws that prevent another conflict like this. Hale's face was calm. Laws are words, he said, and words mean nothing without consequence. The Othran ambassador, still bitter from defeat, slammed his clawed hand on the table. You think you can speak for all of us? He growled. You humans bring fear wherever you go. You destroy fleets, burn defenses, and call it peace. Hale turned his gaze to him. We destroyed only what attacked us, he said quietly. But if you wish to test that peace again, I promise you, we will not hesitate. The Othran fell silent. Around the chamber, the murmurs faded. The memory of fire from the sky still haunted them all. Dr. Grant, seated beside Hale, spoke next. Earth is not here to rule, he said. We are here to ensure survival. If the Council wants peace, then build it with honesty, not fear. The Lethari representative nodded. Perhaps it is time for shared power, she said. Each world must have a voice. The Council failed because it forgot to listen. Earth reminds us that strength must serve reason, not control. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the Supreme Counselor sighed. Very well, he said. We will rebuild the Council. But this time, Earth will have a seat. The declaration spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. For the first time in its long history, the Galactic Council acknowledged humanity as an equal. After the summit, Hale stood outside, looking at the alien skyline. It was strange, beautiful, and broken. Joe's voice came through the comm. "You've changed everything," she said. "No," Hale replied. "They changed because they had no choice. The test will come when they have one again." Back on Earth, weeks later, a strange transmission was received. It came from deep space beyond any known colony. The signal carried coordinates and a warning. "Unknown fleets detected," the message said. "Unregistered technology. Not Council origin." Hale stared at the screen. "It begins again," he whispered. Within hours, Terran Command went on alert. The orbital mirrors reoriented, the defense grid lit up, and fleets mobilized across the solar system. The unknown ships approached fast, ignoring all hails. "Prepare defensive positions," Hale ordered. The alien ships arrived without warning. They didn't match any design the Council had ever recorded. Smooth, black, and silent, they seemed almost alive. The first one appeared near the moon, scanning, observing. Then came another and another until dozens surrounded Earth's orbit. President Joe appeared on the holo display. "They are not attacking," she said. "Not yet." "Then we wait," Hale said. For hours nothing happened. The entire world watched the dark shapes above them, silent and still. Then as suddenly as they came, they began to speak, not in words but in light. Patterns of energy pulsed through their hulls, sending data across every channel. Dr. Grant worked quickly to translate. "It's a message," he said. "They're saying..." "They've been watching. They saw what we did to the Council. They want to talk." Joe's eyes narrowed. "Talk about what?" Grant hesitated. "They call it..." "The next order." Hale stood quietly for a moment. He understood what it meant. Somewhere beyond the Council, beyond known space, another power had been watching. Earth's rise had caught their attention. "Open a channel," Hale said finally. "If they want to talk, let them." When the message connected, the black ships projected a single glowing symbol, a star split in two, surrounded by a circle. A calm voice echoed through the chamber. "Humans of Earth," it said, "you have shown strength beyond your age. The Council feared you, we do not. We invite you to speak." Joe looked at Hale. "Do we trust them?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "Trust begins with listening." That's what the Council forgot. As the signal stabilized, Hale stepped forward. "This is Earth," he said. "We are listening." The light pulsed again. "Then your new age begins." And just like that, the connection ended. The alien ships vanished into the dark, leaving Earth in silence once more. Joe turned to Hale. "What do you think they want?" "Balance," he said. "Or power. Maybe both. But whatever it is, they know now that Earth will not kneel. Not to them. Not to anyone." Far above, the stars shimmered quietly. The galaxy had learned to fear humanity's ferocity. But it had also learned to respect their resolve. In every corner of known space, the words were whispered again and again, like a legend reborn. The humans retaliated ferociously, and the galaxy was never the same again.